Tax Committee meeting. Have a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by John, seconded by Ron. All in favor?
Aye.
Any additions or corrections? Okay. Report on revenues from County Treasurer.
Good morning, everybody. I think everybody's got my report, I hope so. As I stated the last meeting, I was concerned about the percentage of increase because we hadn't started receiving the big chunk of the quarter. And if you'll notice, we're up about 3.5% right now. So that's, by the end of this month, we'll be holding that through. Other than that, nothing much really has changed other than the Warren County projects. We're down $25,000 additional for the traffic study. So we're down to a $46,000 balance there. Everything else is pretty much the same. Questions?
Any questions for Mike? Hearing none? Okay, thank you, Mike.
Welcome.
Report on activity for the Adirondack Civic Center Coalition. Before you get into that, I'd like to introduce Jeff Mead, who is the new director of the Civic Center. And I feel really old today because been friends with Jeff's father for 60 years, and he served as my secretary-treasurer when I was president of the union for nearly 20 years. And to dispel any rumors, I did not have anything to do with his appointment. I had no contact with anybody from the coalition. But welcome, Jeff.
Thank you.
Liz?
Thank you, Chairman, for that introduction. I was going to do the same, and we're really glad to have Jeff on. He's been with us 4 to 6 weeks, a little over a month, and from the get-go has jumped into everything, brought a bunch of new ideas and block parties and concerts to the Civic Center already that are in the works, so that's going to be fantastic. Just another piece of new information that was not in any of our reports, but the board, and through Jeff's efforts, has recently decided to split its affiliation with Ovations, which was the food and beverage supplier to the Civic Center. And this was done with some research, but we'll have a huge savings as we take over doing that ourselves internally. Jeff will be involved in, if not hiring someone to be food and beverage, but at least running the whole thing on his own. And so all the profits from the food and beverage from now on for all events, for the most part, I'm not sure if hockey's included in that, but for our events, will come to the Civic Center directly. You don't have to split it with Ovations or a third party anymore. So that's going to be a big deal for us. We're really excited about that move. I submitted last month 2 reports, I should say 3 reports. I revised the first quarter's reports based on my meeting long ago with Martin for the first quarter performance report, and then I submitted the second quarter's performance report together with a list of upcoming events for this next quarter, July through September. I'm not sure I even covered everything that's coming up for this third quarter. There may be additions because literally daily we're having additional things. We have a huge block party together with a concert in October, and the block party's a new addition. So in the report I submitted, I think I had 6 events, and that's grown since last month when I submitted it. To summarize the report, and again, I submitted these to Martin, and I'm not sure if the committee itself has received copies or seen them, but to summarize, I've shown in both reports that for the first quarter we used about $45,076, and in the second we've used $191,300. I'm using round numbers, and to be perfectly honest, in preparing these reports, what I do is I took all of our expenses for all of our events, and I took what we're allowed to use, the spending guidelines from the occupancy tax report, and I just match them up as best as we could. So we're open to questions and, anything in regard to those reports. Certainly, we have significant expenses for performances and events that are not even on here. So if there's something that people have questions about or don't think is appropriate to spend tax dollars on, let us know, because we can talk with you and adjust figures.
Any questions? Yes.
On the report that we had a couple weeks ago, it showed a lot of all the expenses, but there was nothing to kind of compare to the revenue, to find out, how you guys are really doing.
Okay.
We had all the expenses there, but without knowing if
What we're making.
productive, well, it's not so much how much you profited, but, maybe what you're in a range, maybe of your revenues, are they going up, is it?
Okay,
You
I
know.
can speak a couple of points on that. In preparing the reports, I use strictly the agreement we have in place and how those reports are to be prepared. So I'm not sure revenues was on there, so I
Okay.
probably didn't even list it. I can tell you that we can certainly give ideas about how we're doing, and with with Global now out, and remember, Global negotiated most of these contracts for this year. We were bound by those terms. We were bound by the cuts that we had to give for promoters and performers and ovations. Going forward, since Jeff's arrival, we're able to negotiate all those terms ourselves, and a lot of those cuts are going down. So, just globally, you'll see the revenue we're making from concerts in the future here drastically different than what we perceived. I don't have numbers at present to give you exact revenues and ballparks of what we're making, but I'd be happy to provide that information for our event. This is what we brought in, this is what we paid out, this was our bottom line. I can tell you, bottom line, the beginning quarter, we're not in any great shape, we pay a lot of people out. We do well with food and beverage and liquor sales, beer sales. A good chunk of that would go to ovations or Global or et cetera. So, but I'd be happy to provide that. And I can include that in my reports in the future.
Doug?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Beatty. The question I had was, you said that now we're going to control all the food services and so forth. I think it's a great idea, obviously, setting up a third party, whatever. So what do you anticipate, and because you have said that the food and the liquor and so forth is a big revenue piece of the whole scenario, what do you anticipate in additional revenue dollars by now controlling all that food and
Yeah,
beverage?
it's a good question. Do we have like a percentage difference that we could?
Well, yeah, we paid, do I need to stand up?
Sure.
Okay. We paid Ovations a management fee every month to be there, including a lot of their staff, a lot of their, operating expenses, telephone, et cetera, et cetera. So those will all be gone. Like the management will all be gone. We'll certainly bring in our own manager, but it's a significant decrease in our expenses. And then they received revenue, I believe it was 10% on gross sales, and then 6% on net sales. I believe that's what it was, 10 and 6.
Yeah, that's about right.
So we won't be sharing those revenues anymore with Ovations going forward. So it's pretty substantial, we believe, lowering expenses and keeping more money.
That's a great formula, obviously,
It
lowering
is.
the expenses and then getting a bigger piece of the pie, or actually the whole pie. So, do you know what they did last year, those dollars? So, just by simple math, we can figure out just an idea of what that additional revenue would look like? You follow me? In other words, if you're paying $100,000, now you're going to pay $100,000.
We believe it'll be six figures, around $100,000 to $150,000 a year.
Additional.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Additional from what you were making currently.
Yes, yes. Between
That's
increased
great.
revenues, decreased expenses, and then certainly, we'll control our own destiny, so we have room to grow as well.
That's great, thank you.
Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been reported in the governor may or maybe not bring up dollars and cents to the Civic Center. Do you have any comment or any thought on that?
You know, we've heard the same report, and to be perfectly honest, we don't have anything more than that. That would be huge. We've, we've received a grant, or in the process of receiving a grant for renovation. So those dollars that we are getting, will be getting now, hopefully, and then the ones you're talking about, would be used primarily for renovation work, system upgrades, structural, that type of thing. Not to put into formers and food and beverage and operation expenses. But that would be fantastic, for us. We actually have a whole list of things on our wish list if that happens, but no, at this point, we don't have anything solid.
Rob? Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the, there's lots of different ways to measure success, and one of the ways that I think that we will need to measure success going forward is with our 3-year commitment and being able to see how 3 years out that's going to be able to go away, and you're going to be able to sustain an operation with other sources of revenue. And I think that in terms of the reporting, at least in terms of my interest, one of my interests, that's one of the things that I'm going to be interested in wanting to see. Now, some of that may be needed in year 2 and 3 to continue to grow the program. Even though you're cutting expenses and increasing revenues, that doesn't necessarily mean, and I understand that, therefore, our contribution can just cease. But it would be nice to be able to see that end is going to happen. I think and I think that what some of us envisioned when we provided the support, that it would have an end date, and that during that period that you would be able to grow and find a balance that didn't require those resources. So, in terms of your future reports, now that has to do with your larger business plan, and there are things you can discuss, and there are things you can't discuss relative to your larger business plan and your contractual commitments and whatever, but that's the kind of thing that I'm interested in hearing.
Okay, that'd be great. And I know I've mentioned in past meetings that, for example, a big use of our occupancy tax dollars is for performers. And, one idea that's suggested at a meeting is if we can get a big sponsor to take over that expense. We're thinking of ideas to be more self-sufficient, self-sustaining, and we'd be happy to report on that as we go. And I'll make sure that that's a piece of the report, as well as the revenue.
It should be very good to see, at least in a sketched way, how this is coming together, incrementally.
Sure. Yep.
Well, I guess I had Liz, I saw with the in your reporting, which we've met on, and which I think is really what we're looking for here as far as the contractual requirements go, and you've modified that, I think, particularly the way that you noted with the asterisk for each item, and then lead the reader to that footnote. I thought that was particularly helpful. I noticed with the Godsmack event, which I think I understood from you was a successful event, they had a guarantee. I saw they had a guarantee. Is that typical or is that atypical? So I guess for my purposes, when I'm looking at this in the future and examining your expenses and your revenue for reporting in the event that questions, when you sign a contract with these entities, you know that there is an absolute guarantee of what you have to pay them, irrespective of the receipts that you may generate.
Right. And I'll let Jeff talk a little bit about this, but yes, for many, not everybody, but yes. So our big ones, our big headlines, they want guaranteed numbers.
That was a big number.
Yes. Yes, it was. And do you have other comments?
Well, I think, I mean, Liz is right. For a big show like Godsmack or, band, everybody knows, they get a guarantee. Then on top of that, there's certainly, a lot of expenses that go along with it. But a guarantee for a big show absolutely happens. Yeah, so, smaller shows and other type of things, we can rent the arena, we can co-promote, et cetera, et cetera. But for a big national act, they get a guarantee. Yep, anywhere between, probably 30 and, $250,000 for a real big act. So, yeah, that weekend house, obviously, if you get to a bigger arena, they can get up to $1 million for sure. we're not there.
Thank you.
Rachel?
Thank you. Well, I was just wondering, I think the information is great, and I certainly respect the committee format, but I've gone through my emails. Is there a way that other members, other than the committee members, could be provided with a report so we could ask informed questions? I don't see it.
Yep, what I did, Supervisor Seaver, was I believe at last month's meeting, I believe I handed these out hard copy to the committee members. There's certainly a way that we can distribute those quarterly reports by email to all of the supervisors. We can do that.
That would be incredibly
Yeah,
helpful.
we're still kind of growing with this process too, and on how the reporting is coming in and working with Liz, so, but we can do that in the future.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Liz?
I'd just like to say that your comments from the report is helpful to me in preparing them, because sometimes we're feeling like we're just shooting in the dark a little bit. So I appreciate your comments. I'll add all your suggestions in the future, and are open to any questions or comments as we go.
Excuse me.
Sure, morning.
I need to be notified if we're gonna move these things around. I got it at 10:30. Got 5 minutes to spare here.
Well, I think that there's a very interesting story here of what all of you are doing. And I think this is an opportunity to communicate, good or bad, so that people have a complete understanding of where we are, what the challenges are ahead, where the successes have been, where the difficulties are, and how we're going to resolve some of these issues. And I think that's what I'm interested in being told, that we're here, we're going to be here, and this is how we plan to get there. And you know how to get there.
Right.
It doesn't fall quickly, I know.
That's in the works, right. Thank you.
Dennis?
Realize that we're getting late. Did you discuss the basketball team at all?
We did not. Do we have anything?
Well,
We
yeah,
submitted our.
we submitted the bid last week for the next 3 years for the public schools. There's 2 other venues that are vying for it, Times Union in Albany and Binghamton. We do our formal presentation September 25th for that event, which we've had for over 30 years. We're hopeful again. And then we are bidding on the Federation Tournament again, which we used to have many years ago. We haven't had it for a while, so we're bidding for that as well. That's really, at this time, that's all we have on both those events. So we're bidding on both of them. We're hopeful. Certainly next March we have the public high school tournament here again.
Is there anything the board can do to help you out with it?
Oh, that's a question for Doug Kenyon. I'd be happy to pose. He's taken the reins on it, and he's got the meeting at the end of the month, so.
Have a call.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, any help would be wonderful. I mean, it's been a great event for 30 years. We definitely need to keep it. We want to keep it.
Lake George is down the line.
Yeah.
I need to see them move it away.
Yeah, true.
Thank you.
We do have a request in for the rest of the funds. We've used what we've, and then some, so, where we are with that.
Yeah, that's next on the agenda. Approve payment of third quarter projected expense balance of contract $83,900. Right?
I'll move it.
Moved by Matt, seconded by John. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Anybody from the public want to speak?
I have a question to the Coalition for the Civic Center. When you submitted the proposal for the basketball tournament being here for the next 3 years, every time we put it up for bid, we've also had lodging owners and businesses for rates and things like that, because that was actually a pretty big item on their agenda at one time, because we had to, when they came to Queensbury, Glens Falls one time, we had to actually lower our rates to make sure that we were still in the ballpark, because we almost lost it down to the Binghamton area market. And one of the things we were able to do is consistently maintain a rate structure that they were doing, and I haven't been reached out to, and I'm usually one of the partners, so I was a little concerned that, haven't heard anything about it till just now.
Yeah, which hotel are you with, sir?
I'm with the Ramada.
Okay.
And also the Queensbury Hotel, I can attest they probably haven't heard either.
The Queensbury has put in a bid, I know that. There's another hotel, I believe it was Fort William Henry, that put in a bid. Again, that was through Doug Kenyon. I'm sure I can have him reach out to you.
I'll reach out to Doug myself.
Okay,
Thank
please
you.
do, yeah. Thank you. But that's part of our bid, I know that.
Good, I'm glad you did.
The hotel. Thank you.
Mike?
Yes, Michael Consulo with Lake George Regional Chamber of Commerce and Convention and Visitors Bureau. On behalf of the Chamber and the CBB, I'd like to welcome Jeff to the area. The function of the CBB, as you may know, is to go out and market the area for special events. We do this very effectively, and we do this with the understanding that we have quite a few venues to promote, and one of them being the Civic Center. So I would cordially invite you to perhaps arrange some time to meet with us to let us explain to you what we actually do so that we can be of assistance. Has not taken place as of yet, but that's...
No, I'd love to. I met with, I believe her name was Christine.
Christina, correct.
We met for about an hour, and she said she was going to a few upcoming shows. So, but, yeah, she mentioned that maybe I'd come and speak to your group at some point in September or October, and I said I'd gladly come. So, thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing nothing, motion to adjourn by Ron, seconded by Edna. All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Thank you.
What do you need my phone, sir?